Alrighty, so today we're going to look for zeros, also known as solution. To tie back in Algebra 2, when you have a quadratic equation equal to 0, it says to factor to find the solution. So when you're looking for solution, you're also looking for the zeros. So here, we're going to do the good old factoring just from Algebra 2. So, before we can factor, we're going to label our A, B, and C. A is always in front of x squared, B is always the number in front of x, and C is the last term. Now, since there's no number, it just means an invisible 1. So let's write out the values for A, which is 1, B, which is 2, the one in front of x, and C is the last term. Since it's minus 15, that means it's negative 15. Now, keep in mind, A and B are the coefficient that's in front of x squared and x. So always remember, A, B, and C always equals to number. See, I don't have any x, so I should not put x. They should equal to numbers only. Now, since A is 1, what we can do is use the chart, the t-chart, to factor out your work and your data. So let me write out factors of C. In this case, our C is negative 15. So I am going to write a line here. Then on the other side, it's sum of B, which is 2. So that means sum of factors for B. So what we're going to do is determine factors for negative 15. So let's think of factors of negative 15. We can try negative 1 and positive 15. Negative 1 times 15 will give us a negative 15. But if we're going to determine the sum of these two factors, well, the sum between negative 1 and 15 is a positive 14. Well, we can't use those two factors because that 14 does not match with our B value, which is 2. So, I'm going to write next saying that we're not going to use that and think of other factors. So, well, I mean, if we try 1 and negative 15, so now the negative is on the other number. So the sum between 1 and negative 15 is just negative 14. Doesn't match with negative 2, so we're just going to not use that. Alright. Now, what other factors could we use? Well, we can use 3. Hold on. Let me switch to black. 3 and a negative 5. So 3 times negative 5, that will give us negative 15. But what's the sum between these two? A positive 3 and a negative 5. Well, the sum would be negative 2. Well, it's close. It's close, negative 2 and 2. But we still cannot use it. So I'm going to mark X. But since it's close, all I'm going to do is I'm going to switch a negative from the 5 to the 3. So negative 3 and a positive 5. Well, these two, when you multiply, yes, it will give us a negative 15. But what's the sum? Negative 3 and 5? Well, the sum is going to be 2. So therefore, alright, we're going to use these two factors here. So, once we identify that these pair of factors are going to use because its sum matches with the b value. So what we're going to do, first we're going to put it in factor form. I'm going to write x minus 3 because it's negative, and I'm going to write x plus 5. The reason it's plus 5 because it's positive, equal to 0. Now I just wrote it in factor form. This is the factor form of the original equation x squared plus 2x minus 15. Now if you were to FOIL, you should get the original equation. Factor is going the opposite direction of FOILing. Now since we are looking for zeros or solutions, what we're going to do is set these two factors, x minus 3, x plus 5, equal to 0. So I'm going to write on this side, x minus 3 equal 0. And then x plus 5 equal 0. So I just set these two factors equal to 0. Now all we're doing is just solving for x. So x minus 3 equals 0. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides so I can get x alone. So x equal positive 3. Over here, I'm going to subtract by 5 to both sides to get x alone. So I will have x by itself because these cancel out. 0 minus 5, so that's negative 5. So I got two answers. Now our two answer is x equal to 3 and x equals to negative 5. So I found our solution, or also known as the zeros of x squared plus 2x minus 15. So therefore, I'm going to box our final answer here. Next is our second example. So we have the quadratic equation x squared minus 8x plus 12. So we're going to label our ABC. A, B, C. And again, A is just the coefficient in front of x squared. B is the coefficient in front of x. So since there's no visible number, it just means A invisible 1. So A equals 1. B equals negative 8 because of that minus 8. And C equals positive 12 because of that plus 12. Alright, so from our ABC value, again, it's only equal to numbers only, no x's, no x's. Since A is 1, we're going to fill out that chart again. So factors of C, which is positive 12, and then sum of B, which is negative 8. Alright, so now we got to think of factors for positive 12. Let's see. Let's try 3 and 4. So if we do 3 and 4, it does give us positive 12, but let's look at the sum. Positive 3, positive 4, that's a positive 7. Doesn't match up with negative 8, so we're not going to use that. Now again, the reason I'm doing this chart is so that I can list out the factors of 12 to visually see which one I can eliminate and which one to use. Now, sometimes it's great to think of it in your head, but I would highly recommend to doing it once you have practiced factoring 100 times. If you have not, then I would highly recommend to use the T-chart so that you can organize your work, see which one works, and see which one doesn't work. So let's think of another factor. Well, we could do -3 and -4, but it won't give us -8, because let's take a look. -3, -4, those two, if we combine the sum, that's going to give us -7. Not -8. It's close, but not -8, so can't use that. So what else can we use? Well, we could use 2 and 6. It does give us +12 when we multiply them, but if we combine the two terms, the two factors, it's going to give us a +8. It's close, so we're not going to use that, but what happened if we use -2 and -6? So -2 times -6, +12. Combining the two factors, it does equal to -8. So what we're going to do is we're not going to use +2 and +6. We're just going to use -2 and -6. So once we identify the correct factors, what we're going to do is going to write in factor form. So x minus 2 and x minus 6 equal 0. No, minus 2 because it's negative, minus 6 because that's negative. Alright, once we have got that in factor form, we are going to solve for x by setting both of them, these two, equal to 0. So x minus 2 equals 0, and x minus 6 equals 0. So I'm going to add +2 to both sides to cancel out the 2 here and get x by itself. So x equal +2. I'm going to do the same thing, -6 or -6, so I'm going to add 6 to both sides. It's going to cancel here, so I'm going to get x by itself on the left, 0 plus 6, 6. So x equals 2, x equals 6. So what we do, write our answer, x equals 2, and x also equal to 6. So we solve for our solution, or also known as solve for our 0. So I'm going to box it in red, and there you go. Our solution for x squared minus 8x plus 12 equal to 0. In our third example, we have 2x squared plus 11x plus 12 equals 0. So let's identify our a, b, c value. A, b, and c. So a equals to that 2, b equals that 11, and c equals to that 12. Now, since a is equal to 2, meaning more than 1, we can't use that t-chart we used in the last example unless a is 1. So we first have to make a, the 2, become 1. So what we're going to use is the method slide, divide, and move. So let me rewrite the function, the quadratic function over here. 2x squared plus 11x plus 12 equal 0. So in the slide, divide, move method, what's going to happen is, first step, you're going to slide the coefficient in front of x squared all the way to the last term, which is 12. So when you're sliding the 2 to the 12, you're multiplying them. So I'm going to rewrite it so you can visually see what you're supposed to do. Since we're going to slide the 2 to the 12, that means it should be x squared. Bring down the 11x plus, now I'm going to put parentheses because since we're sliding, it's going to multiply. So 12 times 2, close parenthesis, equal 0. Alright, x squared is by itself. Alright, now we're going to multiply these two terms right here, 12 and 2. So I'm going to underline it here. So x squared plus 11x plus 24 equal 0. So let's redo the ABC. So A equals to 1, because I have invisible 1 now. B equals to 11. And now C equals to 24. Alright, so since A is 1 now, we can use the chart. I'm going to move to the side, make some more room. So what I'm going to do is going to write the chart here. Factors of C, which is 24, and then sum of B, which is 11. Alright, now we're going to think of factors of positive 24, but the sum is 11. Well, we can try 2 and 12, but if we were to combine these two factors, that's going to give us a 14. Well, we can't do that. How about 6 and 4? Well, 6 times 4 is 24, but if we combine these two, the sum would be 10. Well, it does not exactly match to 11, so we can't use that. So the other factors I could think of would be 8 and 3. 8 times 3 will give us 24, and the sum between 8 and 3 is 11. Alright, now we found our pairs of factors. So let me organize this table. The first two we're not going to use, but this one we're going to use, so these two factors right here. Alright, let me make some room. Alright, so we factor using the t-chart, and we're going to use these two factors here. So x plus 8 and x plus 3 equal 0. Alright, so since we slid in the beginning, now we gotta divide by the number that we slid. So since we slid the 2 at the very beginning, what you're going to do is you're going to divide both factors by 2. So divide by 2 here, divide by 2 here. Now, the first factor, x plus 8, being divided by 2, 8 can be divided by 2, so that's going to become x plus 4. X plus 4. Now, x plus 3 divided by 2. Well, 3 cannot be divided by 2 into a whole number. So what we're going to do is you're going to move the 2 in front of x, not the parenthesis in front of x. So, open parenthesis, 2x plus 3 equals 0. So again, since the 3 cannot be divided by 2 into a whole number, all we did was move the 2 in front of x. That's why we have 2x. And then bring down to plus 3. So our two factors is x plus 4 and 2x plus 3. Now, we're going to solve for the solution, or also known as find a 0. So I'm going to bring it over here. X plus 4 equals 0, and 2x plus 3 equal 0. So what we're going to do is solve for x. So over here, positive 4, so subtract 4 both sides. So x equal negative 4. Now, I want 2x to be by itself. First step is cancel out the 3. So subtract 3 on both sides. So now it's 2x equals negative 3. Now I want x to be by itself, so what I'm going to do next is divide by 2. So 2x divided by 2, it will not cancel out. Cancel means equal to 0. But what's going to happen is 2 divided by 2 will be 1. So it's going to be a 1x or just x equals negative 3 over 2. So we just finished solving for x. So our solutions is going to be x equals negative 4 and x equals negative 3 halves. And I'm going to box these two as our final answer. Now in the fourth example, 5x squared plus 13x minus 6. So let's check our ABC values. A here, B here, and C here. So A equals 5, B equals 13, and C equals negative 6. Well, since A is not 1, and we needed to change that 5 into 1, so we're going to do slide, divide, move again. So let me write the quadratic equation here again. And again, I'm going to show it step by step. So this 5 is going to slide to that negative 6. So it's going to be x squared plus 13x minus, I'm going to put parentheses, 6 times 5 equal 0. So x squared plus 13x, 6 times 5, that's going to be a minus 30. Now the reason it's minus because it has that minus right there. Alright, after we slid, we're going to do ABC again. So now A is that invisible 1 right here, B is 13, and C is negative 30. Alright, now A is finally 1, so we can do that chart to continue our factoring. So I'm going to write right here, factors of C, which is negative 30, and then sum of B, which is 13. So let's make our chart. Now let's think of factors of 30. Well, negative 30. Well, I mean, you can try, since it's negative 30, we can do negative 6 and positive 5. Those two, when multiplied, will give us negative 30, but what's the sum? Negative 6 and 5. Well, the sum will be negative 1. So we can't use that because it doesn't equal to 13. So we're not going to use that. Negative 30. Well, why not try negative 10 and 3? Well, negative 10 times 3, yep, negative 30. But what's the sum? Negative 10 and positive 3? Then the sum would be negative 7. Well, not even close to positive 13. So, can't use that. And if we try to switch to negatives, then it's only changing the sign of these two numbers, so it won't be close to 13. Now another factors we could use is 15 and negative 2. 15 times negative 2 will give us negative 30, but what's the sum? Positive 15, negative 2, that's going to give us a positive 13. Well, we just found our pair of factors, 15 and negative 2. So, what we're going to do is put in factor form, x plus 15 and x minus 2 equal 0. Now, since we slid at the very beginning, we're going to divide by the number that we slid, which was 5. So, we're going to divide by 5 on both factors. So, this 15 can be divided by 5 into a whole number, which will be x plus 3. Now, this one, 2 cannot be divided by 5 into a whole number, so we're going to put that 5, or should I say move that 5 in front of x. So 5x minus 2 equal 0. So once we finish the divide part and the move part, now we're going to solve for x. So I'm going to bring it over here. So x plus 3 equals 0, and 5x minus 2 equal 0. So here I'm going to cancel out the 3 by subtracting 3 on both sides. X equals negative 3. Done with that one. Now over here, we're going to cancel out the 2 by adding 2 to both sides. So 5x equals to 2. And I need that x to be by itself. What I'm going to do is divide by 5 on both sides. And again, 5 divided by 5 equals to 1. So it doesn't cancel out. It's going to be divisible by 5 and it becomes 1. So 5x divided by 5 is just x. And now it equals to a positive 2 over 5, or 2/5. So our final answer is x equals negative 3 and x equals 2 over 5, or 2/5. And let me box our final answer. And we are done.